By day 29, my inbox had 47 unread emails. Subject lines like, brand collaboration opportunity, urgent partnership inquiry, we'd love to work with you. And the funny thing? 30 days earlier, I had $38 in my bank account. Not $38,000. $38. And that number kept flashing in my mind as I stared at the message from a luxury watch brand offering me $12,000 for one post. $12,000. For a life I completely fabricated. But to understand why I did it, you have to understand what humiliation feels like when it sticks to your skin. It started with laughter. Not friendly laughter. That sharp, condescending kind. The kind that makes your ears burn and your stomach drop. Influencer, my cousin Mark smirked, leaning back in his leather office chair. Bro, you don't even influence your own dog. The room erupted. Family dinner. Sunday night. Everyone there. I remember gripping my fork so hard my knuckles turned white. I smiled. Nodded. Pretended it didn't bother me. Inside? It felt like something collapsed. Mark wasn't just some random cousin. He was the golden child. Founder of a mid-level marketing agency. Drives a Tesla. Posts motivational LinkedIn quotes about building empires. He loved reminding everyone that I had dropped out of business school. Loved pointing out that I was figuring things out. Loved asking, loudly, so how's the job search going? The truth? I wasn't job searching. I was trying to build something online. But every attempt flopped. YouTube channel? 112 subscribers after 8 months. Instagram? 387 followers, mostly bots and my aunt. TikTok? One video hit 2,000 views. The rest barely cracked 100. And every time I posted, I could almost hear Mark's voice in my head. Bro, nobody cares. I wish I could say that night was my breaking point. It wasn't. The real breaking point came 3 days later. I applied for a junior marketing role at Mark's agency. I told myself I didn't care. I told myself it was just temporary. I told myself I needed stability. He interviewed me himself. Not in a meeting room. In the open office. Where his employees could see. He flipped through my resume slowly. So, no degree. No successful campaigns. No portfolio with real traction. He looked up. Why should I hire you? There it was again. That smile. Not amused. Not friendly. Superior. I swallowed. I understand audience psychology, I said. I just haven't had resources. He laughed. Out loud. Resources? Ethan, if you were good, you wouldn't need resources. That sentence. If you were good, you wouldn't need resources. I walked out without shaking his hand. Didn't slam the door. Didn't argue. But something inside me shifted. On the drive home, my chest felt tight. I kept replaying the moment. If you were good? What if he was right? What if I just wasn't good? That thought sat in my room with me that night. Heavy. Breathing. Alive. Then I opened Instagram. And I saw something that changed everything. A 22-year-old guy posing in front of a rented Lamborghini. Caption, morning mindset. The comments were full of fire emojis. The bio said, entrepreneur. Investor. Mentor. I checked his tag location. Rental service. I checked public records. No company registered. I scrolled through his content. All lifestyle. No proof. But brands were commenting. DM us. Let's collaborate. Check your inbox. My pulse quickened. I checked his engagement. It wasn't even that high. But the aesthetic? The perception? The illusion? That's when it hit me. People don't follow success. They follow the image of success. And brands? Brands don't verify. They react. An idea formed. Dangerous. Irrational. Bold. What if I didn't build success? What if I manufactured it? 30 days. That's what I gave myself. 30 days to become someone else. Not forever. Just long enough to prove a point. I opened a new Instagram account. Username, Ethan Cole Official. Bio. Digital entrepreneur. Brand strategist. Building freedom. Round Pushpin, Los Angeles. I did not live in Los Angeles. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment 40 minutes outside the city. But perception begins with small lies. Then came the visuals. I spent my remaining money on a one-day exotic car rental split with 2 other guys I found in a Facebook group. For hours with a Lamborghini. We each got 40 minutes. I changed shirts 3 times in a parking garage. Different angles. Different poses. Confidence I didn't feel. I remember looking at my reflection in the car window and thinking, this isn't you. And another voice replied, maybe it could be. By day 3, I had 600 followers. Bought? No. I didn't want bots. I engaged aggressively. Commented on entrepreneur pages. Replied instantly to DMs. Posted daily. Luxury coffee shops. Borrowed watch from a friend. Photos edited to perfection. Every post told a story. Built from nothing. No excuses. Vision over validation. The irony almost made me laugh. But something strange started happening. People believed it. Strangers DM'd me asking for advice. Small brands started following. A supplement company messaged, "Love your aesthetic. Would you be open to gifted collaboration?" Gifted. Not paid. But it was a crack in the door. By day 10, I had 4,800 followers. And I ran into Mark again. Family dinner. He scrolled his phone mid-conversation. Then paused. Looked at me. "Is this you?" He turned the screen. My new account. Photo with the Lamborghini. Caption, "Work in silence." I shrugged casually. "Yeah. Just building." He squinted. "Didn't know you had it like that." I smiled. That felt good. Not because he was impressed. But because he was uncertain. And uncertainty was new. By day 15, my follower count crossed 12,000. No viral moment. Just consistent illusion. I started staging meetings. Booked hotel lobbies. Took photos with a laptop open to a blank spreadsheet. Caption, "Closing big things." Nothing was closing. Except the gap between reality and perception. But then something happened that I didn't expect. I started believing it too. When people call you successful enough times, you stand straighter. You talk slower. You move differently. And brands? Brands started emailing. Real ones. Clothing startups. Tech accessories. Energy drink companies. Paid collaboration inquiry. My heart pounded reading the first offer. $1,200. For one post. More than I made in 2 months at my last job. And it was only day 18. I should have felt guilty. Instead, I felt powerful. But power built on illusion is fragile. And day 29 was coming. And with it, something I didn't see coming. Day 21. The first real contract hit my inbox at 7:42 a.m. Not a gifted collab. Not a free product for exposure. A 9-page PDF. Professional. Detailed deliverables. Usage rights. Exclusivity clause. Payment schedule. $3,500. For 3 posts. My hands actually trembled. I sat on the edge of my bed staring at the number like it might disappear. $3,500. For photos taken in borrowed environments. For captions written in a room where the paint was peeling. For a lifestyle that didn't exist. I told myself something very dangerous that morning. I'm not lying. I'm just early. That's how I justified it. I wasn't pretending to be rich. I was projecting who I would become. Right? That thought let me click reply. We negotiated. I used confident language. Spoke like someone who had done this dozens of times. Based on my engagement metrics. Given my current audience growth velocity. Half the terms I learned from YouTube tutorials the night before. But confidence sells. And brands can smell hesitation. So I gave them none. By day 23, the money hit my account. I refreshed my banking app 5 times just to make sure it was real. Balance, $3,538. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel tight. I walked differently that day. Not because I had become successful. But because someone believed I was. And belief is currency. I reinvested immediately. Booked a one-night stay at a high-end downtown hotel. The cheapest room. Didn't matter. The lobby looked like wealth. Marble floors. Gold lighting. Quiet confidence. I filmed content non-stop. Elevator mirror selfie. Room service tray. Laptop on the bed. Caption, "Work doesn't stop." It was 11:48 p.m. I wasn't working. I was staging. And that night, something else happened. A verified account followed me. Blue check. Over 400k followers. A marketing consultant named Ryan Vale. And here's the part that made my stomach drop. Ryan was connected to Mark. Not close friends. But mutual professional circle. I knew because I'd seen them comment on each other's posts before. Ryan DM'd me. Impressive growth. What's your backend? Backend. Translation, what business supports this lifestyle? I stared at the message for 5 full minutes. My heartbeat felt loud in my ears. If I ignored him, I'd look suspicious. If I answered wrong, I'd expose everything. So I did what I'd been doing for 23 days. I leaned into confidence. Scaling digital brand partnerships plus private consulting. He replied instantly. What niche? My brain scrambled. Niche agnostic. Focused on personal brand optimization for high-growth founders. That sentence was pure smoke. But smoke looks solid in the right lighting. He sent a voice note. Interesting. We should talk. We should talk. That wasn't a compliment. That was an audit waiting to happen. Meanwhile, my account kept growing. 20,000 followers. Then 27,000. Engagement climbing. Comments flooding. You're inspiring. Goals. How did you start? And every time someone asked how I started, I felt a small twist in my gut. Because the answer wasn't inspiring. The answer was calculated illusion. But something else was happening beneath the surface. Mark stopped joking. At family dinner, he didn't mock me. He observed me. That shift? That was addictive. For years, I was the figuring it out guy. Now I was the unpredictable one. And unpredictable people make others uncomfortable. Day 26. A luxury watch startup reached out. $8,000 campaign. 2 reels. 1 static post. They wanted analytics screenshots. My throat went dry. Real analytics. Not vibes. Not aesthetic. Data. And here's the truth. My engagement was good. But it wasn't $8,000 good. So I did something that changed everything. I edited my analytics. Not wildly. Not absurdly. Just optimized. Boosted story views slightly. Smoothed engagement rate percentages. Made it believable. Not perfect. Perfection triggers suspicion. Believable triggers approval. I sent the file. 3 hours later. Approved. Contract attached. That's when I realized something terrifying. No one checks. Everyone assumes someone else checked. And that's how perception becomes reality. By day 28, I had made over $14,000. In less than a month. From nothing. No degree. No agency. No real business. Just narrative control. But lies compound. And when they compound fast, they attract bigger players. Day 29. 9:13 a.m. Email notification. Subject line. Partnership proposal, Veil Strategies. My stomach dropped. Ryan Veil's agency. A real one. Mid-7 figures annual revenue. Clients with actual offices. Actual payrolls. Actual legitimacy. He wanted a Zoom call. Exploring long-term collaboration. This wasn't a gifted post. This was strategic integration. Which meant questions. Deep ones. About revenue streams. Clients. Case studies. Proof. My entire identity was about to be stress-tested. And here's the twist I didn't expect. Mark commented on my latest post that same afternoon. Publicly. Proud of you, cousin. Let's catch up soon. It looked supportive. But I knew him. He wasn't proud. He was investigating. And suddenly this wasn't just about proving I could do it. It became something else. Something sharper. Because if I pulled this off, if I secured Ryan's agency, if I turned illusion into leverage, then Mark wouldn't just stop laughing. He'd have to ask me for help. And that thought? That thought felt like oxygen. Zoom call scheduled. Day 30. 10 a.m. Day 30. 9:58 a.m. I was early. Laptop open. Camera adjusted. Neutral background, not my apartment wall. I'd rearranged everything. Moved the desk near the window. Cropped the peeling paint out of frame. Positioned a framed abstract print behind me to look intentional. Presentation matters. My palms were sweating. Not because I was nervous about talking. I'm good at talking. I was nervous about being exposed. 10 a.m. Zoom notification. Ryan Veil has entered the waiting room. My heartbeat was steady. Too steady. Like the calm before a car crash. I let him wait 5 seconds. Power move. Then I clicked admit. Ryan appeared on screen. Sharp jawline. Navy blazer. Expensive minimalism. Behind him? Real office. Glass walls. Team members moving in the background. Noise of productivity. He smiled. Ethan. His tone was measured. Assessing. Ryan, I replied calmly. Good to finally connect. Small talk. Surface level questions. Growth trajectory. Audience demographics. Brand alignment philosophy. I answered everything without hesitation. Confidence covers cracks. Then he leaned forward slightly. I'll be direct. Of course you will. We're launching a new consulting vertical for emerging creators. I think you'd be a strong face for it. My brain froze for half a second. A face. He didn't want back-end proof yet. He wanted perception. He continued. Your positioning is strong. Luxury forward but relatable. Fast growth. Clean narrative. Narrative. That word hit. Because that's all it was. A narrative. He shared his screen. Projected revenue model. If I joined as a public partner. Base retainer. Performance bonus. Revenue share. Estimated first quarter payout, $45,000. $45,000. 3 months ago, I was calculating grocery totals. Now I was being offered more than my old annual salary. I kept my voice steady. What would integration look like? He smiled slightly. You promote our framework. We leverage your audience. We help you formalize your backend. Everyone wins. Formalize your backend. Translation, we'll help you build the real thing. And suddenly I understood something. They didn't care whether I already had infrastructure. They cared that I could attract attention. In this world, attention is the asset. Infrastructure can be built later. I asked one risky question. Why me? He didn't hesitate. You move like someone who understands perception. There it was. He saw it. Not the lie. The strategy. Call ended after 42 minutes. No interrogation. No exposure. Just opportunity. But here's where things twisted. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Mark. Text message. Coffee today? No emojis. No warmth. Just direct. I stared at it. For years, I chased his approval. Now he was requesting access. Power had shifted. I replied. Sure. 3 p.m. We met at a cafe downtown. The same type of place I'd been staging content in. He arrived 5 minutes late. Classic. But when he sat down, something was different. He wasn't smirking. He was studying me. You've grown fast, he said casually. Working, I replied. He nodded slowly. Ryan Vale reached out to me. My stomach tightened slightly. There it was. Connection. He asked about you. I kept eye contact. And? Mark stirred his coffee. He said you're positioning well. Said you might be joining a partnership. That word again. Positioning. Not revenue. Not clients. Positioning. Mark leaned back. I didn't know you were building something serious. For years, I heard. If you were good. Now I heard uncertainty. And uncertainty feels like leverage. I've been building quietly, I said. Silence stretched between us. Then he asked the question I'd waited my entire life to hear. What's your structure? Structure. The same word he used in my failed interview. But this time? He wasn't testing. He was curious. And I realized something in that moment. This stopped being about proving him wrong. It became about redefining power. I didn't need to expose the illusion. I needed to convert it. That night, I accepted Ryan's proposal. Not blindly. Strategically. If they would build the back end. If they would create the legitimacy. Then the illusion becomes origin story. Not fraud. Early branding. And that's the razor-thin line. Day 31. Contract signed. Day 33. Announcement scheduled. But here's what none of them knew. Not Ryan. Not Mark. Not the brands. The entire 30-day experiment? I documented everything. Private footage. Behind-the-scenes staging. Rental cars. Analytics edits. Parking garage outfit changes. Because I had a second plan. And depending on how this played out, that footage could either destroy me, or make me untouchable. Day 33. The announcement went live at 11 a.m. Professional graphic. My face on the left. Ryan Vale on the right. Caption. Excited to announce our strategic partnership helping emerging creators scale their brands. Scale their brands. The irony was almost poetic. Within minutes, my phone started vibrating. Notifications flooding in. Comments. Massive move. Congrats bro. Leveling up. And then, Mark commented. Proud of you, Ethan. Let's build something together soon. Public. Strategic. Calculated. He wasn't celebrating. He was attaching himself. That's when I understood something deeply uncomfortable. Respect isn't given when you're honest. It's given when you're perceived as valuable. By 3 p.m., my DMs were chaos. Creators asking for mentorship. Small business owners requesting consulting. Ryan's team added me to their internal Slack. Real professionals. Real operations. Real backend. And suddenly, I wasn't pretending anymore. They started building funnels under my name. Landing pages with my photo. Calendars for booked strategy calls. Ad creatives featuring my content. The illusion was being industrialized. And here's the strange part. I was good at it. On our first live webinar, 217 people registered. I spoke for 45 minutes about personal branding psychology, authority framing, perception leverage, narrative positioning. Everything I had reverse engineered over 30 days. People were taking notes, asking questions, calling me insightful. The same brain that got mocked at family dinners was now monetized. After the webinar, Ryan sent a message. You convert well. 14% close rate. That's high. Very high. Revenue from that single session? $26,000. My share? $8,400. In one night. I stared at the ceiling in my apartment later. Same peeling paint. Same cheap fan humming. But something inside me felt different. Not guilty. Validated. Because the strategy worked. And results silenced doubt. But day 36 brought something I didn't plan for. An email. Subject line. Quick question. From a mid-sized tech brand I had worked with earlier. They were preparing an internal audit. Standard compliance review. They needed raw analytics access. Direct dashboard screenshots. Video walkthrough. Not edited files. Real-time data. My pulse slowed. This wasn't catastrophic. My engagement was real. But those first inflated screenshots? If they compared timestamps, if they analyzed early growth patterns, it could unravel the narrative. And narratives are fragile at scale. I forwarded the email to Ryan. Framed it casually. Brand wants back-end analytics confirmation. He replied within minutes. Normal. Send what you have. We'll contextualize. Contextualize. That word saved me. Because in marketing, numbers are rarely isolated. They're framed. Explained. Positioned. We built a response highlighting growth velocity, engagement quality, audience retention metrics. Shifted focus away from early-stage inconsistencies. The brand approved. No further questions. I exhaled slowly. But something else happened that week. Mark invited me to speak at his agency's internal workshop. Topic? Personal branding in 2026. He said it was a great opportunity. But I knew what it was. He wanted to see behind the curtain. Up close. Live. To test whether I was smoke or fire. The day I walked into his office again, it felt different. Last time, I was the applicant. Now, I was the guest speaker. His employees looked at me differently. Curious. Some impressed. Some skeptical. Mark introduced me. Ethan's built an impressive personal brand in a short time. Built. Not faked. Built. I stepped forward. Microphone in hand. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was pretending. Because here's the truth no one talks about. Perception isn't fake. It's leverage. And leverage creates reality. I spoke for an hour. Controlled pacing. Confident tone. Explained how authority is constructed. How positioning beats credentials. How storytelling drives monetization. And while I was speaking, I saw something in Mark's face. It wasn't doubt. It wasn't suspicion. It was recalculation. After the session ended, he pulled me aside. Let's collaborate, he said. There it was. The same man who laughed at my resume. Now proposing partnership. The power shift was complete. But here's the twist. I didn't say yes. I said, let's explore alignment. His own language. Returned. And I watched him nod. Because he understood exactly what that meant. That night, I opened the private folder on my laptop. The one labeled 30 days. Raw footage. Rental cars. Analytics edits. Parking garage outfit swaps. Every illusion documented. I had two paths now. Continue building the empire quietly. Or, reveal the experiment publicly. Expose how easily perception manipulates opportunity. Turn the confession into authority. Either way, I would win. Because if I exposed it strategically, it wouldn't look like fraud. It would look like genius. And the person who once said, if you were good, you wouldn't need resources, was now waiting for my approval. Day 40. The money no longer shocked me. That's the dangerous part. When something that once felt impossible becomes normal, you stop questioning it. Another webinar. Another $7,200 wired. Another brand sending a contract without asking too many questions. The illusion had stabilized. It wasn't fragile anymore. It had structure. Ryan's team built systems under my name. Funnels optimized. Ad creatives polished. Case studies written. Case studies. That word made me pause the first time I saw it. Because technically, there were no case studies. Only rapid narrative acceleration. But results were real now. Creators who joined our program were actually growing. Clients were sending testimonials. I doubled my engagement. Closed my first $5,000 deal. Finally feel confident online. And here's the twist no one would expect. I wasn't teaching them to lie. I was teaching them positioning. Which is exactly what I did. The difference? They were building real offers from day one. I built perception first. Then offer. Reverse engineered success. And the market rewarded it. But power invites friction. Day 43. A Reddit thread started circulating. Title. Is Ethan Cole legit? My stomach tightened when I saw it. Anonymous accounts dissecting my growth. Speculating. Some supportive. Some suspicious. One comment hit harder than the rest. Fast growth plus vague backend equals smoke. Smoke. That word again. It felt like someone knocking on the door of a house built on momentum. Ryan called me that night. Not panicked. Measured. This happens when you scale fast, he said. Ignore it. Attention validates position. But Mark sent me a screenshot too. No commentary. Just the link. That felt intentional. Like he was saying, I see the cracks. For a moment, doubt crept in. What if someone from those early rental services posted a receipt? What if someone who shared the Lamborghini time exposed the group split? What if the edited analytics resurfaced? Reputation builds slow, collapses fast. That night, I opened the 30 days folder again. Watched raw clips. Me in a parking garage changing shirts. Me rehearsing confident expressions. Me staring at my bank app with $38. And something shifted inside me. The footage didn't feel incriminating. It felt powerful. Because no one else would ever admit they did this. No one else would reveal the blueprint. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized something critical. If I revealed the truth before someone exposed it, I control the narrative. If I frame it as an experiment in perception psychology, it becomes genius, not deception. Transparency disarms attack. And transparency, timed correctly, becomes dominance. Day 45. Ryan scheduled a strategy retreat. Private dinner. Core partners only. Including me. Location, upscale rooftop restaurant downtown. Real wealth energy. When I walked in, I felt composed. Not because I was pretending. But because I understood the system now. Influence isn't about being the richest. It's about being the most believable. Halfway through dinner, Ryan raised a glass. To Ethan, he said. Fastest scale we've integrated this year. Everyone clinked glasses. Mark wasn't there. But his absence felt symbolic. For years, he was the benchmark. Now I had entered rooms he wasn't invited to. Later that night, Ryan pulled me aside. We want to increase your visibility, he said. Podcasts. Speaking circuits. Bigger exposure. Bigger exposure means bigger scrutiny. And bigger scrutiny means the past becomes heavier. I asked one simple question. If someone digs into my early stage, what's the play? He studied me for a second. You mean the acceleration? He knew. Not details. But he understood. I held his gaze. Hypothetically. He smirked slightly. Own it. Frame it as market testing. Story beats scandal. Story beats scandal. That sentence sealed it. The next morning, I started outlining something new. A long-form video. Title draft. I faked being a millionaire for 30 days, here's what happened. Not confession. Case study. Experiment. Social proof psychology breakdown. I wouldn't apologize. I would analyze. Because here's the truth I learned. The world doesn't punish confidence. It punishes hesitation. And if I delivered that video correctly, the narrative wouldn't collapse. It would explode. And Mark? He would have to watch the entire thing knowing. The guy he laughed at understood the game better than he ever did. Upload date set? Day 60. 2 weeks away. Momentum building. Reddit thread growing. Curiosity increasing. Pressure rising. And once that video goes live, there's no reversing it. Day 60. Upload day. 7:58 p.m. 2 minutes before premiere. The title sat on my screen like a loaded weapon. I pretended to be a millionaire influencer for 30 days, here's what happened. Thumbnail, me standing in front of the Lamborghini. Text, it was all fake. My finger hovered over the mouse. One click, and everything changes. No slow leaks. No controlled rumors. Just full exposure. I scheduled it as a premiere intentionally. Live chat enabled. No hiding. If I was going to detonate the narrative, I would do it publicly. 8 p.m. Video went live. Heart pounding. Chat exploded instantly. Wait, what? No way this is real. Clickbait? Bro about to get cancelled. I didn't speak in the chat. I watched. Viewer count climbed fast. 3,000. 7,000. 12,000. Ryan texted. You sure? Just 2 words. He wasn't panicking. He was calculating. I replied. Trust the story. The first 5 minutes of the video showed raw footage. The parking garage outfit swaps. The shared rental booking confirmations. The edited analytics comparison, before and after. No dramatic music. Just honesty. Then I shifted tone. I broke down psychology. Authority bias. Luxury association. Social proof loops. Explained how brands respond to momentum signals more than background checks. Explained how perception creates opportunity faster than credentials. By minute 14, the chat tone changed. This is actually genius. He's exposing the system. Bro cracked the code. Viewer count hit 41,000. Comments pouring in faster than I could read. Then I dropped the final layer. I revealed the revenue numbers. $14,000 in 30 days from pure perception. Then $60,000 plus after integrating real backend. Silence in chat for about 3 seconds. Then chaos. This proves the game is broken. Respect for owning it. This is marketing 101. But the moment that mattered most? A message popped up on my phone. Mark. Call me. Not, are you insane? Not, you ruined everything. Just, call me. I didn't call immediately. I let the premiere end. Sat there in the glow of my laptop screen. Viewer count final number. 126,000 live viewers. Within 1 hour. The video didn't destroy me. It multiplied me. Subscriber count doubled overnight. Brands didn't cancel. They emailed. Subject lines like, "We appreciate the transparency. Would love to discuss ethical campaign structure. Let's collaborate on a case study." Transparency turned into positioning. Because I didn't expose weakness. I exposed mechanics. And people respect the architect of a system more than the victim of one. When I finally called Mark, he answered instantly. Silence on the line for a few seconds. Then he said something I never thought I'd hear. "I misjudged you." No laughter. No superiority. Just flat truth. "You understood leverage before I did." That sentence replayed in my head long after the call ended. For years, he measured success by structure. Degrees. Agencies. Payroll. I measured it by narrative velocity. And narrative won. But here's where the story deepens. The Reddit thread? It flipped. Same users who questioned legitimacy were now debating ethics of branding systems. My name became case study material. Podcasts reached out. Bigger ones. Real audiences. And Ryan? He called the next morning. Laughing. "You just 10x'd our funnel. Applications tripled. Revenue spiked. And because I revealed everything first, no one could weaponize it against me." That's the real revenge. Not humiliating Mark. Not flexing money. It was rewriting the power dynamic. He laughed when I had nothing. He questioned me when I built perception. And now? He was asking for strategy sessions. The boy who needed resources built them from thin air. And here's the part most people won't admit. The system didn't collapse because of honesty. It rewarded it. But I'm not done. Because power, once tasted, changes you. And there was one final move left. One that would cement everything. The day after the video exploded, everything changed. Not slowly. Instantly. My email server actually lagged. Interview requests. Speaking invitations. Brand partnership expansions. One subject line stood out. Keynote opportunity, Annual Creator Economy Summit. The same summit Mark applied to speak at last year. And got rejected. I stared at the email longer than I should have. Not because I doubted myself. But because the irony felt surgical. They didn't want me to talk about success. They wanted me to talk about perception. About the experiment. About the 30 days that rewired everything. I accepted. Date confirmed. 6 weeks away. And here's where the power dynamic fully flipped. Mark asked to meet again. This time, not for coffee. For advice. He came to my apartment. The same apartment with peeling paint. But now, the peeling paint didn't matter. Because perception had already elevated the space. He walked in, looked around subtly. Maybe expecting something bigger. More luxurious. But I didn't apologize for it. I didn't explain. We sat across from each other at my small kitchen table. He cleared his throat. "I want to build my personal brand more aggressively." Aggressively. That word choice mattered. Because that's what he once mocked. I leaned back. Studied him. This wasn't about humiliation. It was about equilibrium. "You have structure," I said calmly. "You just don't have narrative." He nodded slowly. Listening. For once. No interruption. No smirk. I explained authority positioning. Signal stacking. Luxury adjacency. Speed-based perception loops. The exact mechanics I used. He asked questions. Took notes. And in that moment, I realized something strange. Revenge doesn't always look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like elevation so undeniable that the person who doubted you has to recalibrate their entire belief system. Weeks passed. The summit approached. Ryan's team helped craft my keynote. But I insisted on writing most of it myself. Because this wasn't a corporate presentation. It was a controlled detonation. Backstage, heart steady. Crowd size, 1,200 attendees. Industry professionals. Agency owners. Creators. Brand executives. Lights dimmed. My name announced. Ethan Cole. Applause. Not polite. Curious. I stepped on stage. Took a breath. And opened with 30 days. That's all it took to prove that perception moves faster than truth. Silence. Hooked. I told the full story. Not dramatically. Strategically. broke down the psychology, exposed the flaws in brand vetting systems, explained how narrative compounds into revenue. And then I said something that shifted the room. I didn't fake wealth. I demonstrated how quickly we reward confidence over credentials. You could feel it. Executives leaning forward. Creators nodding. Some uncomfortable. Some inspired. Then I dropped the final layer. I documented everything because I knew one day I'd have to choose, hide the origin, or weaponize it. Weaponize it. That word echoed. Standing ovation. Not because I was flashy, but because I articulated something everyone knew, but never admitted. After the talk, dozens lined up to speak to me, including investors. And then, I saw Mark in the crowd. He had bought a ticket. Didn't tell me. He waited until everyone else cleared out. Walked up slowly, and said quietly, "You built something I didn't see." No jealousy in his voice. Just respect. That's the moment I knew. The revenge was complete. But there was still one final move left. Because building perception is one thing. Owning the infrastructure behind it? That's permanent power. Ryan approached me 2 days later. "We want to spin you into your own vertical. Equity. Ownership. My name as the lead brand. Real backend. Real valuation. And this time? Nothing was staged. Everything was earned. But here's the twist. Before signing the expansion contract, I made one condition. Mark's agency would not be involved. Not out of spite, but clarity. Because sometimes the ultimate revenge is building something so real that you never need validation again." 2 weeks after the summit, everything had settled. Brands were reaching out proactively. Partnerships multiplying. Podcasts wanted me as a recurring guest. The same people who mocked me at family dinners were now referencing my case study in meetings. Mark texted occasionally, requesting guidance. No jokes. No superiority. Just questions. I realized something crucial. Revenge isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. Quiet. Strategic. Silent. The person who once laughed at your lack of resources now relies on your insight to build theirs. I had weaponized perception. I had converted doubt into credibility. And every step of the way, the illusion became infrastructure. By day 90, my Instagram account had 92,000 followers. Email inbox overflowing with genuine paid collaboration offers. Ryan's agency had fully integrated me. I had my own team handling back-end operations. And the final layer? The documentation from the first 30 days. Every staged photo. Every edited analytics file. I didn't need it anymore. But I kept it. Because power grows when you hold the story behind the story. Then one evening, Mark called. This time, no hesitation. "Ethan, I need your advice. I want to reposition my brand before the end of the year. Can you help me?" I paused, smiled, and said, "Of course. Let's get started." No gloating. No dramatic reveal. Just quiet dominance. Because the sweetest revenge isn't public humiliation. It's a power shift so complete, the people who doubted you are now dependent on your knowledge to succeed. And in that moment, I finally understood something about life. Perception doesn't just open doors. It builds empires. Months later, the dust had settled. Ethan Cole's life wasn't perfect. No one's is. But the tables had turned so completely that the people who once mocked him, who once laughed at his empty bank account and dismissed his ambitions, now had to rely on him for insight, guidance, and strategy. Mark, the cousin who had epitomized arrogance and superiority, had become a student of Ethan's methods. He no longer smirked at him, he now deferred. He asked questions. He took notes. Every subtle lesson Ethan had learned about perception, authority, and narrative was now being applied by the very person who once ridiculed him. Ethan didn't gloat. He didn't flaunt his wealth or his influence. He didn't need to. Revenge doesn't always come in fireworks. Sometimes it's a quiet, unshakable shift in power. And that's exactly what this was. Every brand collaboration, every keynote, every speaking engagement was not just money earned, it was proof that perception can create reality, that patience, precision, and strategy are more powerful than brute force or anger. The ultimate satisfaction didn't come from seeing Mark humbled. It came from knowing that the world now treated Ethan as a force to be reckoned with, that his credibility was untouchable, and that his earlier humiliation had been the fuel for a transformation no one could ignore. One night, Ethan opened the folder labeled 30 Days, One Last Time. The raw clips, the staged photos, the edited analytics, they were relics now, reminders of what had started as a simple experiment in perception but had become a full-blown masterclass in life, influence, and revenge. He closed the laptop, leaned back, and smiled. The game had changed. The rules had shifted. And for once, Ethan wasn't chasing approval. He was defining it. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that those who doubted him, those who laughed at him, would never forget how the man they underestimated completely rewrote the story.